Hello, welcome back to Tactical Tuesday with Johnny Tiger on December 8th, 2020. Perhaps one of the most commonly exaggerated and misunderstood part about Chinese Kung Fu, or Chinese Gong Fu, if we want to be specific, um, is the whole thing surrounding hitting someone's pressure point with your with your fingers. The deadly Chinese Kung Fu finger strike. For the most part, I am pretty set against finger strike for no other reason than it's an art that is very difficult to master. It's something that it's possible to get really good at. It's possible to develop some deadly fingertips, but in the end, a finger is a finger, a fist is a fist. You use your finger against someone's fist, most likely you're not going to come out on top of that. If you use your finger against someone's forehead, most likely you're not going to come out on top of that. You use your finger against someone's elbow, ow, yeah. So it's the equivalent, trying to learn to be really good at doing finger strikes. It's about the equivalent of trying to learn how to hammer a nail into the wall really good using a screwdriver. Can it be done? Yes. Is it really all that practical or worth your time? Probably not. Uh, unless your goal is to go on stage and amaze your friend, amaze the world, and do really cool demonstration how you can puncture coconuts with your fingertips. Then yeah, if you think that is worth you getting arthritis in your hand, carpal tunnel syndrome, or any of a few bent and broken fingers, then okay, if that's your thing. But be that as it may, there are circumstances one may run into during a self-defense scenario that require you to use the more slender or finer part, the smaller part of your body, being able to attack the throat, to attack the eye, to attack the ear, the side of the cheek, the mouth, side of the mouth, the fish hook, to get into the deepest part of the armpit, to strike at the inside of the elbow, to strike at the inside of the wrist, and so on and so on. There are times when you need to know how to do some of the basic finger strikes. And that's what we're going to look at today. I'm not a master of Kung Fu. I'm not a master of finger strikes. My background, or the most qualified background that I have, is Krav Maga and Shorin Ryu Karate. But I clocked in my time with Snake Kung Fu, Praying Mantis Kung Fu, and Tai Chi a little bit. And now, well, lately, in the last 2 years or so, been doing a little bit of Wing Chun. I'm saying that to say that I definitely am not someone who can puncture coconut with my fingertips. But at the same time, I have utilized finger strikes very successful in the past using the two forms I'm going to show you guys today and keeping some of the most basic principles in mind. The first thing you want to keep in mind when you decide, should I do a finger strike, should I use my fingers, is what are you trying to do? Why do you think you need to use your finger? If you don't think you need to use your finger, then the answer is no, don't use it, don't do it. Like I said, the time to use your finger is you need to get into the throat. Okay? The chin and the top of the clavicle, that's a very narrow margin. If you use your fist, most likely you're either going to hit the chin or hit the chest. It's really hard to get at the throat with your fist, or sometimes even with your blade hand. So this is one of those instances where a strong finger strike may do the trick much better than anything else. To go for the eye, to go for the side of the mouth, these are things, soft target. That's where you got to look at. Soft target the nooks and crannies on the human body that may give you that advantage. And don't get it wrong, most finger strikes, unless you are one of those people who are able to puncture watermelons and coconuts with your fingertips, unless you're that good, finger strike is mostly in the uh, attack category of eliciting a reaction to give you an edge. So don't expect you finger strike someone on the chest and that person will drop dead. Most likely, you just make them kind of angry. When you finger strike them in the crook of the elbow, that's not going to do much other than get some kind of reaction out of them, especially if they are aggressive and angry to begin with. But that also gives you an advantage because when you know by doing this, you will get a reaction. By doing this to their throat, you'll get a reaction. That's great. Then you know how to anticipate that. So number one, deciding why you think you need a finger strike and deciding if it's really necessary. Number two, make sure that you're ready for what kind of reaction they are going to give you. Number three, remember, soft target. Don't try to finger strike someone's shoulder. Don't try to finger strike their chest. Don't try to strike their forehead. Okay? Don't even try to finger strike the top of their thigh or their bicep or their big forearm or their pectoral. Okay, those things just not going to work very good for you unless you are already a master at doing this. In which case, you most likely wouldn't be watching this video today. When we talk about finger striking, we'll be looking at two different forms of finger strikes. There are a lot of different kinds, but I've ever only learned two because that, like I said, I don't really agree with finger striking. It's a very risky kind of thing. Um, but for the two words I learned, they definitely have benefited me uh, in some situations. I'm going to show them to you right now. Style number one is a thumb forward finger strike. In other words, it's a thumb strike, hitting them with your thumb. And the way to do this, okay, a lot of people who are amateur, they will stab forward with their thumb sticking out the side of their hand, they'll stab forward, okay? Don't do that because if you try to do it this way, the moment you encounter something hard, I know I already said don't go for hard target, but sometimes it's not up to you. Sometimes when you try to jab someone with your fingers, they're going to put their elbow in the way, right? So if you just have your thumb hanging on the side of your hand and you jab it forward, you hit something hard, you are going to stub your thumb. I think a lot of us have stubbed our fingers, stubbed our toes, stubbed our thumbs before. And not a good feeling. It's going to disable that digit for a while. So don't do that. The proper form to do a thumb strike with the thumb forward form is we'll make a fist, just like a regular fist. But rather than hiding our thumb behind or on the side of our fist, we will stick our thumb out and bracing the second joint, our thumb on the underside, on our index finger knuckle. So it should look something like this. For those of you who are blind, it looks like I'm holding up a fist with my thumb protruding really far forward, and my thumb is braced on my index finger knuckle. So normally when I punch someone, my knuckles should make contact first. But if I make this forward thumb fist, when I hit someone, I'm thinking my thumb should hit first. But it's not going to drive my thumb back into its socket because my thumb is braced on the rest of my finger, so it's anchored. Okay, that is form number one, the thumb forward strike. Form number two is the stacked finger mantis strike. I learned this in the praying mantis kung fu, and I personally really like this one. Hold out your hand and imagine you're pinching your index finger between your thumb and your middle finger. So how I accomplish this look, I pinch my index finger and my thumb together with my thumb slightly behind the first joint of my index finger. So my index finger is sticking out a little bit past my thumb. Okay, I pinch them together and then I take my middle finger and stack the pad of my middle finger on top of the nail of my index finger. So it forms this uh, stack, this three finger stack. Like this. This is a stacked praying mantis finger form. Okay? And what you do, this is something that you have to practice a little bit, is when you throw this out, right before you hit your intended target, you are going to pull your thumb back and extend your middle finger and index finger. So rather than all three kind of evenly stacked together like this, it's going to extend forward like a switchblade before you hit the target. So it's going to look straighter, and the thumb is further back. The middle finger and index finger are more forward. But keep in mind, I'm not separating them. So when I extend this, I'm not separating them like this. I'm not taking my thumb away because my thumb is there to brace the finger so they don't get hurt. So I'm just retracting, like sliding my thumb from the first knuckle up to the second knuckle of my index finger while straightening my index finger and middle finger. But everything is still stacked together. Okay? Quick review. Thumb forward, make a fist, stick your thumb out and then brace the bottom of your thumb against your index finger knuckle so you make a fist with your thumb sticking out the front. That's the thumb forward finger strike. The stacked praying mantis finger strike. Pinch your thumb and index finger together with your thumb slightly behind the first knuckle, and then put the pad of your middle finger on the fingernail of your index finger to form a three finger stack. And then when you strike, before you hit your target, you pull your thumb back and extend your middle finger and index finger, still pinching them together. Like a switchblade, okay? It's like this. Switch, on, off. Extend, retract. Extend, retract. Now that we learned the two-hand form for how to use these finger strikes, I'm going to show you guys the body mechanics and how a little trick, how to tell if your finger strike is hitting properly without needing to break a coconut. Okay, we're not that advanced yet. A lot of kung fu or kung fu movies show people pulling back their hand and then jab forward with their finger, and then hui, hui, jab forward with their finger, okay, and they get result. That's in the movie. That's in the movie. Okay, don't do that. You're gonna break your finger. The proper finger strike, at least in the praying mantis kung fu school, is rather than jabbing with your finger, we want to whip our finger forward. Whip our finger forward. So there's a circular motion with my arm. Let's go with the thumb forward finger strike, making a fist. My thumb is braced on my index finger knuckle. So I have a fist with my thumb sticking forward. So rather than punching forward, like I'm going to punch someone with my finger, I'm going to circle my arm to whip my fist and thumb forward. Okay, like throwing a baseball. Like throwing a baseball. Okay, like throwing a baseball. That's a contraction. There's a circulation, and boom forward. Pull back, circle, boom forward. Okay, I'm exaggerating the motion so you guys can see it, but normally it will be a lot faster, like that. It will be that fast, or even faster. Okay. Similarly, with a stacked finger, praying mantis finger form, I stack my finger, I pinch my thumb with my index finger behind the first knuckle, and then I stack my middle finger on my index finger. Again, rather than jabbing forward like I'm stabbing someone with my finger, which doesn't really work, I'm going to circle my hand back and then whip it forward, back forward. And as you can see, hopefully you can see on camera, as my hand comes forward is when I extend my fingers. So you go in slow motion, I pull it back. I never pull straight back, mind you, it's always circular. Circle back and forward. When I go forward, my fingers extend. My fingers extend. And when I whip my hand forward, you need that whipping motion, you need that circular momentum for these finger strikes to work at a basic level. Again, if you are some kind of master in Kung Fu and you have fingers of steel, then you can probably just like do anything, like tap someone with your finger and they'll fall over. I don't know. But at this basic level, where we don't have days and years to mess up our fingers in conditioning them, this is what you need to do. That whipping motion to get that finger to be effective. Now I'll show you guys a little way to tell if your finger strike is being practiced properly. All you need is a piece of paper. I'm going to hold this piece of paper in the air with my left hand, pinched between my left hand, thumb, and index finger. And I'm going to show you guys. I hope you guys can hear it because this is a partly tactile, partly auditory clue if your finger strikes being done right. If I if I stack my finger, let's go with a stacked praying mantis finger. I stack my fingers and then I just jab forward at this piece of paper. Okay, you guys can even see it on screen. All that it's doing is pushing the paper out of the way, and the sound is kind of mushy. The sound is kind of mushy. But if I do this properly by whipping my hand, it's very snappy. Okay, that sound is very snappy, and You can even see it punctured the paper. The paper wasn't even being held in place. I just held it in midair with my thumb and forefinger, but with a whipping force. Look at that. Just that little whipping motion with a staff finger ripped the piece of paper in half. Okay? That's what we're looking for. That's the kind of result we're looking for. Do it until you can successfully penetrate or rip open paper every single time. Then you can graduate to shredding cardboard, and in no time at all, maybe you'll be doing coconut. Thank you for checking out today's Tactical Tuesday. We'll be back again tomorrow for Wisdom Wednesday. For now, have a good night.